A couple is sweet-talking about what to name their baby when suddenly the boss pops up out of nowhere.
Wait, what is going on? Boss, why do you have zero clothes on? Oh my god, get out right now!
Meanwhile, our boy Lin Xuan has already failed 9 straight job interviews, desperate for the heavens to finally give him a break. And speaking of weird, Boss Lou is currently stuck in a tree after previously conquering fences and walls.
He begs a neighbor to call 119, and honestly, this guy seriously needs an assistant before he gets stuck in the wild.
If he gets stuck in the middle of nowhere next time, nobody will hear him, so he promises to hire someone immediately.
The neighbor calls it in, telling the operator it is the exact same guy stuck in the exact same commercial street tree. Soon, Boss Lou puts up a hiring sign on the blackboard, simply asking for someone who can catch cats.
He tells a passing Lin Xuan to take his time reading, noting that carrying cat treats is a huge bonus.
Lin Xuan starts introducing himself nervously, but Boss Lou tells him to stop looking at his bag because there are no scripts in there.
Boss Lee instantly deduces that Lin Xuan just came from the park, leaving our boy absolutely stunned. He points out the fresh mud on Lin Xuan's pants, proving he had to have walked through the only wet park nearby.
He even guesses that Lin Xuan ran into a specific stray dog with a chipped left ear, which is actually crazy.
Now comes the real test. Get a 3-year-old orange cat named Rice Cake to finally come down from a tree.
He can use any method he wants to rescue her, except for using a ladder, and there is a hilarious reason why. Turns out Boss Lou literally broke the ladder last time he got stuck. Surprisingly, Lin Xuan gets hired on the spot, leaving him completely baffled by how easy it was.
He gets $3,500 a month plus free food, and he is so hyped to finally be employed.
While registering, Boss Lou asks what happened with that stray dog earlier, and Lin Xuan explains he was just eating bread. He felt bad and shared half his meal, which apparently made the dog decide to play matchmaker with his resume. Talk about a wholesome plot twist. He is told to start tomorrow at 10, and being late only makes the cat angry.
Oh, and he shouldn't show up too early either, because the boss is definitely not a morning person. But of course, Lin Xuan shows up at 8:30, admitting he was just terrified of getting stuck in traffic.
The boss is shocked that he waited outside for over an hour instead of just calling, but Lin Xuan was too polite. He was literally afraid of ruining his boss's sleep, but Boss Lou tells him to just call next time. His phone is on 24/7 anyway. Inside, Lin Xuan notices that the resident cat is acting pretty distant. The boss jokes that at 1.77 meters, Lin Xuan is basically a giant to these little felines. To break the ice, Lin Xuan offers some homemade cookies he baked early this morning. It is a sweet tradition his grandma taught him, bringing gifts to make a good impression on his very first day.
Since it is a cat cafe, he thoughtfully shaped them like adorable little kittens, which is honestly so wholesome.
Turns out he woke up at 6 to bake them because he was too nervous to sleep last night. Boss Lou takes a bite and is genuinely blown away by how delicious they actually taste. He admits his own baking always ends up either completely burnt or dangerously raw, which makes Lin Xuan chuckle. He once even set the kitchen on fire, and the firefighters who saved him were his usual rescue buddies. The daily grind is simple. Clean up, feed the cats, and look after Rice Cake since she chose him. Lin Xuan is now officially in charge of her, but he wonders what the boss actually does all day. Boss Lou proudly declares that his job is deduction, working as a pet detective to find lost animals. This is their real bread and butter, because running a normal cat cafe definitely doesn't pay the bills. At this location, they would easily starve, making Lin Xuan wonder why they don't just open a detective agency. But Boss Lou explains that all these cats are rescues that need a safe haven and constant care. Having guests play with them helps burn their energy, while he uses the cafe as his secret base for detective work. Lin Xuan realizes he is low-key just a cat nanny, but Boss Lou insists there is more to it. He's actually looking for a partner, because while he might seem useless, he has a very special skill. He is incredibly sensitive to animal behaviors, able to deduce a cat's entire life from just one single hair.
Okay, so our main character literally reconstructs a dog's entire escape route from just a few blurry paw prints. Talk about absolute Sherlock vibes. Honestly, this guy has read every detective novel under the sun. Sherlock has Watson, Poirot has Hastings, and Miss Marple has her gossipy neighbors. But while our guy has crazy high-tier deduction skills, his physical coordination is basically zero. He desperately needs
an assistant. He asks if she gets it, basically finding lost pets. Do you think you can handle it?
She says she can't find people, but animals are fine. Perfect. He promises commissions for every pet found. Suddenly, a customer rushes in.
He cries that his precious Mina bird is missing since this morning and begs for help. Lou instantly knows because the bird droppings are still wet. If it was yesterday, they'd be bone dry. He asks which way the window faces. South. The window was left open for fresh air, and the cage was empty. Lou asks if there are any camphor trees around. Yes, a row of massive ones to the south. Minas don't fly long distances, so their first move is always to find a high perch.
Since the morning sun was in the southeast, the phototactic bird definitely flew that way. If there are camphor trees southeast, it's sitting on the highest one.
How does he know it wants the tallest one? Simple. Minas use the highest points as safe observation decks in new environments.
That tallest tree has a dense canopy over 10 meters high, a total magnet for birds. So off she goes.
She asks if she has to go alone. He says the owner will lead. Once there, she's on her own while he waits in the cozy shop. He admits he's useless at climbing trees anyway. The owner gets worried, asking if this young girl can actually handle it. Lou guarantees she can do it. If the client doesn't trust her, they can trust Niangao, their helper cat.
He tries to justify staying behind. He can't climb anyway, and even though he's slightly anxious, this is exactly why he hired her.
No way he can start doubting his new employee on her very first day. Soon, the bird's owner returns completely blown away. He says she spotted the bird at the very top instantly. Like, no shot, she's actually built different. But she just smiled, pulled out a bag of mealworms, scattered them on the ground, and started making perfect bird calls. Honestly, the bird looked completely brainwashed as it flew straight down for the snacks. Then it suddenly started belt singing a famous classic song. It turns out the owner used to love singing this epic song in his retired community choir, and the bird picked it up. After listening so much, it just memorized the whole thing. And get this, it can even sing a song about bringing good luck. Mission completed, and the bird is literally vibing, singing out wishes of good fortune. It even mashes up different songs. Last time, it sang a wild remix to the neighborhood scrap collector, leaving the poor guy completely stunned. I love this bird already. What is this musical genius named? Turns out it's named Hao Yun, which literally means good luck. His granddaughter named it that because its loud voice sounds like festive firecrackers. It literally sings to anyone who walks through the door. From the water guy to the fire inspector, everyone gets a performance. One inspector was so amused, he even gifted them an extra fire extinguisher. That is hilarious. The standard fee is 300 yuan, but the owner happily hands over 500. She tries to turn down the extra cash, but Lou insists. Since she did all the hard climbing, caught the bird, and survived a live concert, the extra 200 is hers, no arguments allowed. On their way back, she asks why the bird can sing such complex melodies. Lou jokes it is because of the choir owner. But she wonders how such a tiny brain can remember long lyrics. Lou explains that Minas are actually master mimics. They don't memorize words with their brains, they just copy phonetic tones and rhythms. If you played it a traditional horn tune, it would mimic that perfectly too. Hearing this, she softly mentions that her own grandfather used to sing that exact same song. He was a massive fan of the classic show Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Whenever he finished fixing bikes, hands covered in grease, he'd wash them while singing the only 2 lines he knew. The rest of the song got hummed away. Lou gently asks if her grandfather is still around. Sadly, he passed away, leaving her a set of heavy-duty wrenches. This backstory is low-key heartbreaking, but Lou listens warmly and offers to let her redesign the shop partition. Niangao the cat wants an indoor highway, and she is the official engineer. She promises to measure the space first thing tomorrow. He says there is no rush since they open at 11, but before they head out, he tells her not to leave too quickly. An official welcome dinner is actually a cat cafe tradition, but when she asks about it, he admits he just made it up.
At the restaurant, a friend jokingly shouts that Boss Lou brought a new girlfriend. Lou quickly corrects him and orders their food. They get a split hot pot. Lou tells his loud friend to tone it down because his new employee is socially anxious, though the friend just laughs it off, saying it means she's sharp. Lou tells his teasing friend to beat it and leave them in peace. He asks if she ever dines out alone. When she says she usually cooks or orders takeout, he piles food onto her plate. She looks way too thin. She protests, saying she is 48 kilograms, but at her height of 163, that is definitely underweight. This boss is already looking out for her.
She is literally 5 kilograms underweight, which is basically the weight of one cat. Honestly, she has been a hard gainer her entire life.
Her grandma used to say she is built like a funnel. Everything just leaks out. So the boss tells her to pack in the hot pot. Turns out she is not a local. Her family home is empty, and after graduating, she rented a tiny place to live on her own. Rent is only $800, but it is a windowless partitioned room. Talk about a brutal living situation, though she insists it is fine. Boss Lou actually contemplated clearing a room for her at the shop, but then he realized it might give off weird vibes, so he stopped.
He asks Lin Xuan if she regrets her first day. I mean, working at a cat cafe for $3,500 a month is pretty tough.
But she has zero regrets. It is actually the very first time she did not end up crying right after a job interview. It is also her first time leaving the house without feeling utterly miserable. Then he tells her she is on opening duty tomorrow.
He tells her to just let herself in. Before 10 in the morning, he will likely be asleep upstairs while she feeds the cats. She asks if she should make him coffee next, but he says no. She can brew one for herself instead as a daily perk. He wants her to enjoy that free coffee while he is still asleep, so by the time he finally rolls downstairs, everything is ready. She will have eaten, fed the cats, and handled Niangao's high-climbing antics. As for his job, he claims he handles spiritual leadership.
She jokingly calls him pretty useless, but then admits she realized something. He might not be able to catch animals, but his mind is sharp.
He actually sent her up to do it because he trusted her. He believed she could pull it off.
He tries to claim he just could not climb up there himself, but she knows the truth. He truly believed in her. Getting trusted is totally different from getting pitied, and she really appreciates that. Meanwhile, the server jokes about them looking like a couple. The boss tells the server to shut up and just keep the hot pot broth coming. Once they finish, she laments that her clothes smell way too much like hot pot to wear tomorrow. He offers to drive her home. She declines, but he points out that a free bodyguard is way safer than taking the bus. He jokes that if they get mugged, the robber will target him because he actually looks like he has money, unlike her. She smiles at his teasing and sincerely thanks him for the meal. Honestly, their banter is already so wholesome. He says it is just standard employee treatment and reminds her not to be late. She promises she will be there at 7:30. He tells her that is way too early, but she wants to show her worth since he is actually paying her. The next morning, Boss Lou wakes up and is completely shocked by what he sees downstairs. He looks at his grumpy orange cat and tells him to lose the attitude since their new helper is on her way. When he sees a brand new wooden cat installation, he asks when she built it. She casually says she finished it while he slept. He's worried she might have hurt herself with the saw, but she shows him her gloves. Turns out she knows woodworking. She proudly explains her creation, a cat highway that runs from the bookshelf along the window all the way to the counter. It loops all the way around the room. He asks why she does not want the cat on the floor, and she explains it. She asks him which path he would choose to work, a crowded, noisy street or a quiet alleyway. When he picks the quiet alley, she notes that cats are the exact same. Their choices depend on safety, food, and territory. She drops some absolute wisdom here. Cats are not just driven by food, but by a deep need for security. Food keeps them alive, but safety keeps them around. Boss Lou is impressed, teasing that this is the most she has spoken since graduating. She just needed the right topic to open up, but their wholesome moment is cut short when a friend calls out for help. A local guy runs in because his dog is literally stuck in a fence. He heard Boss Lou is the ultimate specialist for this. On the way, she hands him a specific wrench. He is surprised, but she logically explains that outdoor fence bolts are bound to rust. Since the fence gaps are 10 centimeters and a corgi's chest is over 11, she figured out exactly how the poor pup got stuck. The dog likely squeezed its chest through but got its ribs completely wedged. Now it is totally trapped and cannot move. She points out they just need to loosen the bolts to widen the gap, but he is baffled by how she knew the wrench size. She casually mentions she saw him using this exact tool yesterday, noting the bolts on the cat door are the same size. She memorized the size while helping him clean up. Honestly, she is like a walking cheat code with that memory. He gets to work, turning the rusted bolt back slightly first to break the rust before unscrewing it completely. The dog's owner praises them, calling them a legendary couple. But Boss Lou quickly tells him to stop gossiping, saying they are just partners.
After saving the pup, she points out he could have turned the third bolt first to save some energy since it was less rusted. She explains she did not want to interrupt his flow since he kept working even after scraping his hand. This girl is insanely observant. I see your detective skills are easily on par with mine. Boss, are we sure this cat cafe isn't a total money pit? Side hustle. Our real gig is private investigation. Now that I have a partner, business should boom. Only 3 cases this month? One big hit feeds us for 3 years. Tons of pet owners out there. The second some rich guy walks through that door, we're set. Will a major client actually show up? Absolutely. Keep grinding and we'll be legends. So when is this legendary client showing up? Patience. We're just biding our time. Any longer and we'll hibernate. Enter Mr. Fang looking for pet experts because his dog Jiangjun whimpers every day at 4 p.m. He sits by the door crying. 3 vets said he's physically fine. One vet suggested a behavioral specialist. What does the whimper sound like? It's a low cry, almost like a child weeping. He cries for 10 minutes, then stops and repeats it the next day at the exact same time. It started on weekends, but now it's daily. Yesterday, a neighbor even complained. Can we board him? The building management is already threatening to file a formal complaint. He's listening. Boarding only stops the complaints. It doesn't solve the core issue. They need to inspect Mr. Fang's house. Clues are always on the home turf. No cure, no fee. They arrive. Jiangjun has lived here for 3 years, raised from a puppy. Mr. Fang reveals he went through a divorce. 4 months ago, his 8-year-old son moved out with his mom. The dog was a birthday gift. For 3 years, they were inseparable. After the split, the ex-wife left the dog behind. Whenever the boy visited on weekends, Jiangjun would absolutely lose his mind with excitement. They basically grew up together. For the first 3 months, everything was completely normal. But recently, the ex-wife started working overtime, meaning the boy couldn't visit and the scheduled weekends stopped. That's when the crying started. Lin Xuan suggests the dog expected his little master on weekends and cried when he didn't show. But why does he cry on weekdays too now? He cried on the scheduled days. Now he cries daily because he has no idea when the boy's coming. This is low-key heartbreaking. Separation anxiety is real. There's no set date for the next visit because the ex-wife is too busy. The detective spots some drawings on the wall. Mr. Fang moved them to the living room so the dog could see them. The bedroom is untouched. The boss enters. This is where the boy did homework, with Jiangjun curled up beneath his desk. The blanket under the desk was placed by the boy so the dog wouldn't get cold. That spot became the dog's favorite place in the house. He spots where the dog bed sat. Mr. Fang is amazed. He confirms that Jiangjun slept there before the divorce. Our pet detective is on the case, asking why General is sleeping in the living room. Did the owner move his bed, or did the pup refuse to come in? Turns out, right after little Xiaoshu left, he still came in once, circled the bed twice, and then just walked out. He has not stepped foot in here since. Honestly, this is already low-key heartbreaking. The detective checks the entrance and spots something wild. A patch of floor by the door is noticeably cooler because something has been sitting there for so long, pressing down on the tiles and compressing them completely. It proves General lies here constantly, waiting. No dog would just chill in one spot for this long without a very specific reason. This exact spot clearly has a special meaning to him. The owner is still skeptical, asking how the detective is so sure the dog is only waiting for his son. To prove his theory, our guy suggests a quick test. He asks President Fang to find an old piece of his son's clothing to see the reaction. And boom, the proof is undeniable. General isn't just barking at the door for nothing, he is searching for his boy. He deeply misses him. Now, the detective delivers his verdict. His advice is simple. Get the kid and General reunited immediately. He tells President Fang to talk to his ex-wife while they pack some of General's things so the detective can deliver him the next morning. He will temporarily board General at their cat cafe. It is a smart way to let the pup transition slowly between both places without getting overwhelmed by a sudden change of scenery. The owner agrees to handle his ex-wife and bring the kid over himself. Since the deal is set, he asks about the detective's fee. Let's see how much this case costs. 10,000? Bro, what? 10,000 yuan?
President Fang asks if that steep price is just to get
Shoo over and calm down the ex-wife. He thinks even if it works, that price is way too high. But our main character is built different and drops some heavy truth. He points out that the son is 8 years old and General was a gift for his 5th birthday. 3 years might seem short to an adult, but to a kid?
That is literally his entire conscious life since he learned to walk, talk, and remember things. To the boy, General isn't just some random pet.
He is the only companion from his earliest memories. No matter how many dogs the boy owns in the future, General will always be the irreplaceable ultimate soul of his childhood.
The dog is only 3 and easily has a decade left to live, but if he keeps refusing to eat at 4 p.m. every single day out of depression, he might starve himself to death before the kid even grows up. When his son returns and asks why General Quan is gone, how will President Fong answer? That is a brutal reality check.
Will he say he thought $10,000 was too expensive to save his best friend? Besides, the ex-wife leaving the dog behind might not be because
she did not want him. She wanted their son to feel like both houses are home. Since General is with them, their bridge is still intact. As long as they stay connected, they still have a real shot. There is still hope. She might not have even wanted the divorce, and General is her way of keeping the door open. So why did they split up anyway?
The owner sighs, blaming his hectic work schedule and constant bickering. This means their marriage was not completely unsalvageable, and there is still a clear path to reconciling. Getting back together means little Xiao Shu gets his happy childhood back. All this life-changing advice is easily worth $10,000. The owner instantly agrees to pay and seal the deal. But he still has one burning question. When General sits there missing Xiao each Shu, does he think he was abandoned? The detective gently explains that dogs are pure. They do not feel abandoned. They just think they have not waited long enough yet. When asked how he knows, our guy simply says he is a professional. The owner agrees to drop General off at the cat cafe, noting he is a good, quiet boy who won't bark at night. They say their goodbyes. But later, the partner asks a question. Did he make up that whole emotional speech on the spot, or was it actually true? Our main character admits it was half true and half improvised, but based on his years of experience, dogs really might hold on to that pure hope. His partner wonders, though, why they charged only $300 for previous cases but demanded $10,000 this time. The detective smiles. The value is completely different. Plus, President Fang is a wealthy businessman who can easily afford it. His partner teases him for being a savage negotiator.
The next day, President Fang drops off General, asking about the boarding fees. The detective waves it off. That 10,000 yuan covered everything. Meanwhile, the owner has
big news. He called his ex-wife to explain that a professional pet detective diagnosed General. He told her the pup barks at 4 p.m. because he is waiting for Xiao Shu. He challenged her to bring their son and see for herself. She actually agreed, and the emotional family reunion is set for this Saturday afternoon. The detective congratulates him. A massive win. The heartfelt music swells as the highly anticipated weekend finally arrives. And the plan goes into motion. Xiao Shu runs up to the detectives, thanking them for helping General stop crying. Our main character gently explains he only uncovered the truth, and reminds the boy to visit his best friend often so he won't be sad. He also hilariously insists the kid calls him Big Brother. The kid calls him Uncle anyway, promising to visit weekly. When asked what his mom thought of the situation, she bluntly said General is way more reliable than his dad. And there's a brutal follow-up. She wished his dad had even half of General's loyalty. Talk about a savage roast. His partner notes how different animals wait. Dogs sit by doors, cats climb bookshelves. But what about humans? Our main character sighs, saying humans are way more complicated. They pretend they aren't waiting at all. Just then, a client asks to add Miss Lin on WeChat to learn about cats. The detective immediately gets possessive. Suspiciously wondering if this guy is trying to steal his partner, he catches himself, questioning his own sudden jealousy. Still, he asks what the client wanted. She says it is just about cats. He tells her not to add random guys. Alright, so we start with the client asking if they're the legendary pet finding agency. She lost her Husky, and get this, the dog is literally named Chai Jia, meaning home wrecker. Ever since her daughter went abroad, this pup was her only companion, until he suddenly vanished. The security cameras conveniently glitched, but our boss is already on the case with his assistant Lin Xuan.
Lin Xuan gets to work, asking about the Husky's highly fixed daily walking schedule. She asks if any shady strangers ever approached her to compliment the dog or ask its breed. Turns out a random guy praised the dog's frame, which is literally textbook scouting for dog thieves.
Purebreds with friendly personalities and fixed routes are basically walking targets for these professional criminals.
The client is shocked, but the boss explains that this was definitely a calculated, pre-planned hit. He tells her to hand the local security footage to Lin Xuan so they can begin tracking. The boss reassures her, saying high-value breeds usually aren't sent straight to meat markets. Cut to the office where Lin Xuan warns the boss he's downing his 4th coffee. But he refuses to rest until they find the culprit behind this heartless theft. She stays to help and notices a suspicious car with an irregular rearview mirror reflection. Turns out she learned this car repair trick from her grandpa. Talk about a hidden cheat code.
The suspect has a mole but doesn't match the scout, proving they are dealing with a gang.
Calling the cops now would only detain him temporarily and cause the gang to hide the dogs. So they decide to head undercover into the pet market first to track down Chai Jia.
He smoothly tells Lin Xuan to hold his hand if she's scared.
The boss calls a shady dealer, pretending to look for an expensive double blue-eyed husky. The dealer falls for it and says they might have a match by tomorrow. Another broker calls back, offering a young, premium husky that arrived just 3 days ago. The timing matches Chai Jia perfectly, and they set up a sketching meeting at a warehouse. Lin Xuan even identifies a truck horn in the call, proving her observation skills are insane. She playfully asks for a raise, but the boss is locked in on their plan.
He explains why they won't pay a deposit. That is some serious big brain energy right there.
No wonder he is the boss of this operation, honestly, built different.
The thief calls, saying they must deal tonight because the husky is shipping out tomorrow.
They agree to meet at 8 p.m. at an abandoned logistics warehouse. The goon is suspicious of Lin Xuan, but the boss claims she is just his sister.
They enter the warehouse where the thugs are hiding a bunch of stolen dogs.
And boom, there is Chai Jia, but the poor pup has cuts on his face.
The boss keeps his cool and claims he will bring cash tomorrow to buy time.
Meanwhile, Lin Xuan overhears a phone call about a boss named Brother Liu visiting tomorrow. It is clear they plan to smuggle these poor dogs out of the province immediately.
She asks when they should call the police, and the boss says tomorrow with solid proof.
They need to prove these dogs are stolen, otherwise the thieves will claim they are rescues. Suddenly, the thugs start beating Chai Jia, forcing the boss to rush in.
Lin Xuan is terrified. He cannot handle it alone, but he refuses to wait.
She pulls out her trusty pepper spray. Honestly, a true introverted survival essential. The boss tells her he can handle the goons, but needs a quick boost.
He orders her to lockpick and flee while he draws the thug's attention. He leaps into the warehouse, telling the abuser to back off.
He lists out their potential prison sentences, completely folding the thieves with facts. Just like that, the entire ring is busted with concrete evidence. She tells her boss to stop holding in tears. It is literally as bad for him as holding his pee. Then she drops this deep thought, and honestly, this hits different, saying they are bringing these pets back where they belong, whether they are dogs or humans. He asks when she started talking so much sense, and she says she learned it from him, since he deduces cases while she deduces him. That makes him ask what she deduced. She deduced that he forgot to pay her this month. Just kidding. She laughs it off while he softly calls her Lin Xuan. He tells her to stop calling him boss. Too distant. When she asks what to call him, he suggests Lu Ming. He asks why she is blushing. Oh, the tension. She panics, denying she ever thought about calling him her husband. He sarcastically thanks her for being so generous, calling her clumsy and brain dead, and asks if she really does not understand him. Getting super annoyed, she promises to get her eyelash extensions tomorrow, but she is low-key wondering why he is more excited about it than she is.